Yeah, I'm vain. I can't help it. Welcome in, everybody. Joe Quills here with you with another edition of Also Eligible. I need to get the light on here. I'm actually keeping my window open and the shade up because it is a beautiful day here in Philadelphia. And just as beautiful in Saratoga, where we will go for the last time on this show for 2025. Um, it's Travers Day, and we're going to be looking at the five Grade 1 stakes races on the card today. We're going to go through 9 through 13. We have Thorpedo Anna running. We got Bookham Danno running. We have um, Sovereignty running, and we'll look through those. We'll look through those cards and see if we can make some money on those five races, and maybe with some of the things here and there, maybe we can make something on the side. Even if I don't give you guys a winner, maybe I can give you guys something in return that gives you an idea of I can steer you into a direction, even if it's not my direction, because that's the great thing about the horse racing game is you can actually um, you can actually take an opinion from somebody, even though you may not like it, or you may like it, but I may not like that horse in terms of winning the race, but maybe there's something underlying that you see there. I do have one underlying thing that I am going to mention with the Travers, with it being a five horse field, and if you know me, you know where I'm going to go already with it, but um, we'll see what happens with all that. But it is a beautiful day in Saratoga. They start early today. They start at 11:10 a.m. So they have 14 races on the card. And of course, you got to fit everything in because Fox is covering the Travers today. I think they have the early college football game today as well. As it's also college football season, week 0 of the season. Um, I need to check one thing here. Oh no, that game's on the okay. The first football game on Fox is until 6:30. Okay, so it all fits in with everything Saratoga here. This is the final Saturday of Saratoga on Big Fox because they do the Saturday shows on Fox. They do FS2, FS1, FS8, the Ocho, all that stuff. So we're going to be looking at the races today, and hopefully we get you guys some more winners today. We took a goose egg last week, but hey, those things happen from time to time. You just hope it's not something that happens regularly. So, just pulling up some things here for you. Just some things that actually have come to mind as I log in here. So, and you know the deal when we get started here today. And, I'm going to let you guys know about a couple of different things here. First of all, always check out bleacherbrothers.com for all your sports needs. Um, Especially since I'm promoting FanDuel because of FanDuel Racing, you can take advantage of the specials um, that we have. And just to let you know, we do have a promotion with FanDuel right now. If I can find it. If you're looking to open a book today, you get, and especially because you have a 12 o'clock football game and these horse races don't start till 3, maybe you play a first half line on the college football game in Ireland at 12 noon. Maybe you play that. You bet $5, get $300 in bonus bets if you win. Uh, Actually, all you have to do is click on that link top right there. If you got your handy dandy smartphone nearby, just click on that, boom, follow everything, and you'll be ready to go. Now, granted, I will always tell you bet within your means, and if you have a gambling problem, I enter gambler. But I turn it more than just 1-800-GAMBLER. I just say, hey, bet within your means. Make sure your bills are paid up and all that. I make it more personal just because maybe touch the heartstrings a little bit there. So, but this is the page that you land on after you click on what you do is you click on betting, sports books, then you have to click FanDuel. Click the promo here, even though the graphic isn't right. It's actually, as you see here, if we clicked on it, and this is from us, our page. Bet $5, get $300 in bonus bets if it wins. So if you have something you want to play early on today, maybe a first 5 innings of the Yankees game today, if you like something, parlay, get those free wagers, parlay those, and then you have time, and then you can bet into the races here today. So that is the initial promo that we have. I'm going to pull up a couple of different things right here. I'm just checking one thing here because so we do have promotions here galore with FanDuel today with Saratoga. You have the money back special that they always have. Well, first let me show you one other thing first I got to share my screen. First thing you want to take note of, if you have not placed a wager on FanDuel for horse racing, you get a no sweat first bet up to $500, which is perfect for today because Saratoga is one of the top money handling tracks in the United States. And on top of that, you got the big races today. Now, like I always say, bet within your means. But if you first bet up to $500 and, let's say you had the means of putting a full 500 on there, you won't influence the pools too much as you would, let's say, at Belterra, Pocono Downs, Fairmount Park, those smaller tracks. Now, I'm not picking on them, or Delaware Park on a Saturday. I'm not picking on them. I'm just stating facts. But, if you're going to use this promotion, today is the day, especially if you're going to use it at Saratoga, where my horse naturally won, apparently. And we'll take advantage of that. So some of the promotions that they have on there, and then you have the no sweat win bet for today on the Travers, and usually these promotions, they're very quick to getting credited, like within 10 to 15 minutes at the very most. So maybe you like magnitude, maybe you just say, let me go for the fences here and pick McAfee, for example. It's first, doesn't say the amount. I think it's $10. So let me log in here just so that I can get in. Let's go back here. So the no sweat bet, okay, it's a $10 wager. Okay, probably was sitting there the whole time and didn't even know, but had to opt in. But you do have to opt in here, so that's good that I see that there because you have to opt into this wager. It says allow up to 5 days, but usually within 15 minutes, boom, they're done. And let's say you get that money back special and you get your money back. Your next wager will tell you that it's taking the money from that free money. So, let's say you have $300 in your account. and you're taking a $10 wager on, you're doing a $10 wager as the first wager. After that, free, you're using the free money. So you're going to tap into the free money before you tap into your personal pot. So just let you know about that. You got the money back specials up to $10 on races. When your horse finishes second or third, you know the deal with this. If there's less than 5 runners, no special. Got to have 8 or more. If you have 8 or more interests, it's second and third. If it's less than 8 horses, 5, 6, or 7 horses, you will only get money back if your horse finishes second. So, and just like any other race, any other promotion, all the details, all the legalese is below. And 9, 10, 11, and 12, the first 4 races we will look at are all money back special races. So keep that in mind here. And also Del Mar and York in the UK, I cannot wager on that because it's not offered on my FanDuel Racing. And you're going to have FanDuel offer Saratoga and Del Mar pretty much everywhere. You can use FanDuel Racing. It's just that certain states you can't wager on certain tracks for whatever reason. And for whatever reason, I can't bet on the UK races, not that I would. Only because of the way that the programs are. It's not a slight at them, but you get the idea. So those are your races today on Saturday, August the 23rd. And let's get to the races here. So we have, let's go back to me here. And we have 14 races at Saratoga today. I'm sure Carly Simon will be saying sometime during the day that my horse naturally won. But I got to joke around, got to have fun with this, So we're going to look at those 5 Grade 1 races here and see if we can get you guys some more winners. Last week, we hope that's just we hope that last week is just, an exception to the rule, because we've been giving out a couple of winners each week. Actually, I think we only gave out 1, but we've been giving long shot winners. Now, not really long shot per se, but long shot enough where it's like, okay, well, if we just bet these 4 or 5 races that we featured, we made a profit. So, not the profit Isaiah, but let's get to the races here before I get myself into trouble here. So, and also we have a hard out for 11:15. I don't think we're going to get to 11:15, but your boy's got to work today. So, and it's playing that way. So, but anyways, let's get to the races here. It's not what I wanted, but we'll go for it. There we go. So I am going to disappear from the side here, but you're still going to hear me because we're going to look through these races here, see if we can get you guys some winners. And the scratches are in already, which is good. So we won't be, unless there's a late scratch that comes up within the next hour, we won't be talking about random things here. So, or we won't start talking about a horse, and then the next thing you know, the horse is scratched, and then no, and then, and then no, and then, and then you have me talking like an idiot, like I am now, without even thinking about what I'm trying to say. But anyways, first race we're going to look at is the Personal Ensign. Got 7 fillies and mares here, 4-year-olds and up, going 1 mile and 1/8, 1 lap around the Saratoga track. And look who shows up, Thorpedo Anna. Well, first of all, Bernie Take Charge Some programs will have that as cross-entered to a race yesterday. Don't worry about that. Obviously, she's running because she isn't black faded out there. She's running today. Thorpedo Anna bounced back from that La Troyenne fiasco, if I can call it that. She got bumped around into the first turn and was like, I'm not running today. And also, Brian Hernandez did the right thing there that day and said, you know what, we're not winning. Let's just worry about the future races of her. We're not going to do too much with her. Came back pretty much gate to wire there in the Florida League. And in that race, what I was worried the most about was, can this horse, if this horse survives the first turn, it's over. And that was the case. So, but she's got some stiff competition here. Now, granted, you see all these all these names in boldface. She's facing familiar foes here, and these are the cream of the crop here, and they want to challenge Thorpedo Anna, and there's speed here, and she'll be able to stalk, and as long as she's trouble free, because we saw what happens when she gets bumped. But also remember, this is the graveyard of favorites, so keep that in mind when you wager, because sometimes I will just tell you I just got a strange feeling. Randomized the one is going to go for the lead. Won the Molly pitcher last time out. The Ogden Phipps, 2 back at Saratoga. Now the question is, was it the slop? Was it something else? Well, obviously it's probably the slop, because it was the only time she was in the slop. And I think that day, and I'm trying to do this without looking it up. I think that day that might have been the day that they had part of the day was nice weather, and then I forget when the rain moved in, because that was Friday of that Belmont at Saratoga week. So, but you see there, obviously she wants to lead, and if she doesn't get it, she's going to fold like a bad folding chair. So keep that in mind here, and she will be gunning for the lead, and could see her being forced, could be prompted by Dazzling Move here, who also will want to go for the lead, and finish second to Darth Vader, who also runs in this race here. And Sappy Joseph did win some races down at Charlestown last night, including one horse that was scratched in a future race here. But, could be that Thorpedo Anna will get what she wants, is has horses going for the lead and tiring themselves out so that she can just take over in the stretch like she usually does. Now, Raging Sea, she's a closer, but her numbers have not been as good this year as last year. I mean, she's a 5-year-old mare. So you figure, you wonder, is she losing a step or what is it exactly? But, but she did start off the year with the win in the La Troyenne. That was the race that we're mentioning how Thorpedo Anna had problems, but has been regressing, and she's proven she can handle a 1.125 miles. It's just that maybe she lost a step, or maybe it's just the pace of the race, or whatever the situation is. But but she's hoping for a pace meltdown here today, as the DRF handicapper states here. Darth Vader, probably be close to the pace, and she got bumped around a little bit as well in the La Troyenne. Bernie takes charge. Uh, Probably be pushing for the lead as well. Leslie's Rose here also didn't like the slop, but has won on the slop in the past. Um, but granted, it was uh, actually it was a good track, which gets labeled as a wet track. But um, she bounced back. She stalked the pace, and she took over and won. Um, and she was 5 wide. And you know, I don't think she necessarily be 5 wide. So keep that in mind here. So, um, but it just seems to me, and who knows, maybe Thorpedo Anna has a monster race in her, and this is the kind of time that they want to give this horse. Because even if you look at last year, a little over a month to the Oaks, a little over a month to the Acorn, about 6 weeks to the CCA Oaks, a month to the Travers, about a month to the Catalina Parks, and then got about 6 weeks to Del Mar. So this is actually a little bit longer because it's almost 2 months, but this she's running pretty much fresh here. But you do have some horses that can contend with her. Now, the only problem with Leslie's Rose, even though this is my pick, is that she has good race, bad race here, and even though it's a trend that goes all the way back to the Kentucky Oaks, but that Kentucky Oaks race, Kentucky Oaks. Okay, so the Kentucky Oaks here, as I was saying here, I was saying that Thorpedo Anna um, Leslie's Rose, I was saying here, how she's got this pattern of good race, bad race. And the thing is with the Kentucky Oaks and the Kentucky Derby, you're gonna have many horses that just run a clunker in that race for whatever reason. She bounced back in the Acorn, finished second in Thorpedo Anna, then finished fourth there. Probably, probably needed a break, and she did get one. Came back in May, just missed in the vagrancy. Ogden Phipps obviously didn't like the stop, etc. She runs that movie. She'll win this. She'll beat Thorpedo Anna. And Thorpedo Anna doesn't seem invincible here. But I mean, Let me just do that. There we go. So what I was saying here before I lost internet there for a second. Um, Thorpedo Anna just doesn't seem invincible, but she does enough to win. It's kind of like the kid that is super smart, doesn't study, and is valedictorian. Well, that's what Thorpedo Anna is, but I'm going to take a swing at Leslie's Rose to upset her here today. So I'm going 6-7-3-1 in the Personal Ensign. And then the next race is the Allen Jerkens are going 7 furlongs. And we have 8 runners here. They're all in. Patch Adams is favored. First race in 2.5 months. He stalked the pace and took over in the stretch to win the Woody Stevens. And should get a nice trip there after drawing the rail here for this race here. Now, we do have 3 different Baffert horses in this race. We have Midland Money, who put in an impressive performance at Saratoga, won going away, basically gate the wire there, drew off the win by 3 1/4, and you're looking at. I mean, this could be a horse that does some damage, especially in the sprint races, or maybe Baffert has a plan to run him going longer. But maybe and the thing is, sometimes you find these horses and their pedigree says go long and it goes short. Perfect example is Cigar. He was bred for the grass, but ended up winning 16 in a row on the dirt. But you get all this horse is going to go for the lead, and he made market improvement, even though that was an impressive performance at the start of his career. But whatever happened to this horse, and he also got to mature. So that's what you want to look at here. Barnes, the 3, comes back here. Maybe a horse that ends up running in these 1-mile races, running in these sprint races. We'll get a chance to see him going 7 furlongs again, like he did in the San Vicente in January. And, they paid a lot of money for him, $5.2 million. We'll see what he does here in his first race back. Obviously, they were really getting him ready for this race because he had a 5 furlong work there, a 6 furlong work, a 7 furlong work, in 123. Most races 123 around the country, 7 furlong race. So he's going to be ready here, and he had a 4 furlong work there. So obviously he'll be ready to go here. Chancer McPatrick. This horse won the Woody Stevens. Won the Curlin. He was off the board in the Woody Stevens, the lone race he's not won at Saratoga. He's 3 for 4 here, and obviously he loves it. Goes back to a 7 furlong distance here. That race, the Woody Stevens, it could have been a bunch of reasons, including the fact that it was a muddy track that day. But you look at these races, he's been closer to the pace. He was closer to the pace there in the Curlin, obviously, because it was a longer race. He shortens back up to 7 furlongs. Obviously, after that Curlin win, they don't want to face Sovereignty. So he may be a little bit further back here, and he's going to be closing, and who knows? Maybe he steals this race here. So Verifier won the Maxfield, stalking there, while 3 wide there. Smoking Wicked won the Amsterdam Grade 2. Probably be close to the pace there and may get cooked into the pace here. And talking about getting cooked, Captain Cook, hey, try to work a segue in somehow. Won the ran well in the max field, just got passed by Verifier and Smoking Wicked, who are both in this race here. Changes trainers to Todd Pletcher here. So it'll be interesting to see what Todd Pletcher can do with him here. And Madaket Road, we know him from some of the Kentucky Road to the Kentucky Derby races here, the Robert B. Lewis, where he had to deal with Citizen Bull, the Rebel, Coal Battle, and also Sandman, the Florida Derby, Tapan Street, who won that race and then was injured leading up to the Derby, Sovereignty. So obviously they don't want to face Sovereignty as well. You know, possibly 7 furlongs to a mile may be what they find best with him. But the one thing I'm going to say here, I think there's more than enough speed in this race that Chancer McPatrick can do what he did in his first 2 races here at Saratoga, which were one-turn races, be back of the pack and then make a strong move. Now, we'll have to see how the track is playing today, because, you know, you can have speed biases. You can have days where speed does not hold no matter how far ahead you are. But we'll see what he does here. I'm going to go with Chancer McPatrick here. He's the type of horse that really likes Saratoga. And I'm going 4-2-1-3 here. Chancer McPatrick over Midland Money, over Barnes, over Patch Adams in the 10th race here at Saratoga. And also, if you're watching, welcome in. I'm Joe Quills. We're looking at the races from Saratoga today. And just a reminder, the QR code is there. That'll lead you to the Bleacher Brother promotions by state. It will default to New York State. Pick your state in the drop down and follow it along. So we're going to continue on here with race 11, the Ballerina, and field of 9, scratched down to 7. Zeitlos is scratched, and also Mystic Lake, who won last night at Charlestown in the pink ribbon. So when I was looking at these races last night, originally I was like, oh, ran at Charlestown. And that was only a 4-horse race. So, but, you know, it is what it is. So, but Mystic Lake is scratched here, obviously. So we got a field of 7 here. And Scylla is the favorite. And she closed well in the honorable miss. It was just that Helena's Forte showed up and shocked the world at 24-1. She will get a fast track today, which will benefit her. I mean, Churchill, she finished 4th here in the Derby City Distaff. You know, you could take that good condition with a grain of salt because there's some moisture in there, but she will benefit from a fast track here today. Hope Road, Baffert has brought half his army to Saratoga today. And why not? Because they, well, then again, this is a 4-year-old. But Hope Road finished 3rd in the winning colors. Was no match for the winner, 2 back in the Derby City Distaff. Needed the break, obviously, because there was some regression there. But, you know, she's going to be close to the pace there. And I think that she will be stalking on the outside there, looking to pounce once they turn for home. Hopefully she's not too wide. but we'll see what happens with her today. I mean, she may even be the speed of the race here. And depending on how the track is playing here, you could be looking at her going gate to wire here. Excuse me. Helena's Forte shocked everyone in the honorable miss. She came up late to win that race. Now she's usually on the front end, but she did not go for the lead here, and maybe that is something that they're going to do again today. So be interesting to see where she's placed early on, because if she goes for the lead, and it all depends on what Hope Road does, and also we all know from watching these races time after time after time that you do have weird things that happens in races. Horses get bumped at the start, they don't get the lead. We all know what happens. But I'm going to go with the 9 here. I'm going with Hope Road here. I just think that California speed is a little bit different than speed elsewhere in the country, and and also Bob Baffert, which probably means this horse is probably going to finish last down. I picked her, but we're going to go with Hope Road in this race here. We're going to go 9-7-4 here in the Ballerina. Race 12 is the Forego. 4-year-olds and up going 7 furlongs here. The trio of 7 furlong races conclude here. And Full Moon Main, this is 3, is a scratch. Not dim. Okay. So field of 11 scratched down to 10. You got Bookham Danno there. I mean, all he does is win, 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 no matter what. 9 for 15 lifetime, 3 for 4 this year. Won the True North, won the Vanderbilt, lost a blanket finish there in the Churchill Downs Stakes. So, nothing seems to bother him, especially this year. 3 for 4 with that 1/4 that you could have argued could have gone 4 different ways. But there's nothing to complain about with him. He just finds ways to win, and probably one of the top New Jersey breds around. I mean, this is giving New Jersey, the New Jersey bred program, hope, and has won $1.58 million. He's going to stalk and he's going to take over, plain and simple. The 7 Milliken finished second. He had the lead briefly there, and just couldn't keep up with Bookham Danno at the end there. But he's been behind Bookham Danno each of the last 3 starts. So, but Mulligan did win this race last year, and he's going to go for the lead. The 6, Crazy Mason. I believe that Bing Crosby was a winning your in race, and did not do too well that day. Comes back to the East Coast, gets to run at Saratoga again, where he finished 3rd last time, previous time out in the True North. So, obviously going to be there at a price here. I'm just pulling up one thing here before we go any further. I just need to see one thing here. Okay. So I wanted to pull one thing up here because there's a couple of races today that are Breeders' Cup winning your in races here. Scotland here closed well in the mud last month. Had a mild kick, but only lost by a length there. Probably going to be wide again today, and should improve off of that first race at 8 months. Second race off a layoff. That's an angle that a lot of people like to use in horse racing in their handicapping. So, and there you see a couple of long shots there on the outside. With the speed in this race, it's going to set up for Bookham Danno. He's going to sit behind the leaders. He's going to take over in the stretch, and he's going to hold off Crazy Moon in the stretch at the line. So I'm going 4, 6, 7, 8 here. Going Bookham Danno over Crazy Moon, over Mulligan, over Scotland. So that's the fourth race here. And the Forego is a Breeders' Cup Challenge race. It's a win and you're in. The Ballerina is a win and you're in. The Personal Ensign is a win and you're in. So those three races, you do have win and you're in implications on this race here. So then we're going to go to the main event. And that is the Travers. And we only have 5 horses here. I know I joked around when I said this on X. And by the way, you can follow me on X and other socials at Joe Quills. The one thing I will say is when I saw whether it was journalism winning the Haskell or Sovereignty winning the Jim Dandy, I said, if journalism comes east again, I would not be surprised if this is a match race. Only because if you have both of those monsters in this race, nobody's going to want to run. And I would not be surprised, as we're going to go show me here for a couple of seconds. I would not be surprised, and if I'm wrong, so be it. I wouldn't be surprised if NYRA, the New York Racing Association, was going around barn to barn and saying, we need some horses in this race. Can you nominate? Only because you got 5 horses in this race. McAfee was okay, but he seems to be very disappointing because he is a half to. He is related to Thorpedo Anna. They have the same mother, the same dam, but he really hasn't done anything since that opening race win. Now, maybe they need to shorten him up, but you're still getting paid rather well here for these races. And, finishing 5th, you're still going to get a good amount of money here. So what that percentage is, I don't know off the top of my head. But Sovereignty, I don't think there's much more you can say about this horse. As will disappear again. Sovereignty, he's shown in the last 2 races that he doesn't need to be 8th of 10, 16 and 19 early on. Back of the pack in the Fountain of Youth, back of the pack in the Street Sense. He doesn't need to be all the way back. He's shown that he can be closer to the pace. Now, granted, you could be potentially looking at trouble here. But the thing is, with this, you have a 5-horse race. basically this is going to be more tactical, which he's shown to have over the last 2 races. So I would think that wherever they want to put them, he'll be doing what he does to win. The only thing is, with a shorter field like this, and we've seen this so many times, everything you expect, you might as well just throw out the window because, you know, things just happen. So, so don't be surprised if you see something goofy happening in this race. Strategic Focus, the 3. He was leading in the stretch in the Curlin Stakes. You know, got caught by Chance McPatrick. I talk about the transitive properties once in a while, where if this person wins, that means this. If this horse wins and this horse has a great shot or whatever. Not today, you know, not when you have sovereignty here. But you know, he's going to be stalking here. That's his MO in his races here. Has run well. Has actually won twice, but was DQ for that race in June. So, so he's 1 win, 1 second, 1 third, but technically he's won 2. He's finished under the wire first twice, I should say. Bracket Buster. I'm expecting he goes for the lead here with Magnitude here, but I'll tell you what, I don't know what to make of this, but if he doesn't get the lead, he's going to fold. But he tried to get the lead, couldn't get the lead, and he folded. But I don't know. I think the 2 and the 5 are basically race filler because it's like, well, you need to fill this race up. Can you nominate? I mean, I wouldn't be, I mean, I'm probably making stuff up, but it wouldn't surprise me because there weren't many nominations for this race. Let me just see one thing here. Yeah, 15 nominations. Now, if we didn't have a super horse here, or what we think is a super horse in sovereignty, you probably get 25, 30, 35, 40 nominations. But also remember, you also have pretty much a 3-year-old race every week as well. So maybe I'm reading too much into that, but Magnitude is probably going to be the wise horse here. And he came out of nowhere in the Risen Star at 43-1, won by 10 lengths, but was injured and came back in the Iowa Derby Prairie Meadows and just did the same thing. There was a little bit of moisture in the track that day, but you know, it was like it just started to rain right before the race started. But if I remember correctly, he just drew off the win by 9 again. And it was the perfect, I mean, it was essentially a glorified workout, and he won that easily. So he's going to get tested here, but you know what? You got to test your horse sometime. And this is the time for him to do that. And we'll see what he does here. And now, normally, I don't make a pick on, I wouldn't make a pick on this race because, you know, I mean, it's so Captain Obvious, as I would like to call it. But I would not be surprised if you see Magnitude go and gate the wire here. He'll be able to handle, because I can actually do this here because this is the free race of the day. So not this time. His offspring gets 7.2 furlongs per win. So that's a pretty good total there. So I would keep that in mind. Bracket Buster with Vacoma only gets 6.4. I mean, I'm a little leery about that. Strategic Focus, Gun Runner, 7.4. You know, you would think he'd be able to handle that. Into Mischief, 6.8. You know, a little low, but, you know, sometimes, even though that's still a good number, you know, you're outrunning. Sometimes you outrun your breeding, which I mentioned, especially the most famous one is Cigar. And McAfee Cloud Computing, who won the Preakness a few years ago, 6.6 right now for him. And we know Cloud Computing for winning the Preakness in 2017. So, so those are the 5 horses. And the one thing I will say to you guys, and might not happen because they have breakage to the nickel, and they're supposed to go to penny breakage in New York soon, I believe in September. Normally, I wouldn't make a pick on this race, but I will. Also, the fact that because you have such a heavy favorite and you have such a small field and an overmatched field where 2 of the horses are basically race filler, Strategic Focus is in that gray area. And then you have the Magnitude is the only horse that you're given a chance to. I wouldn't be surprised if Magnitude's like 4-5, Sovereignty's 2-5, and then these other horses are like 50-1. I mean, however the math works there, so don't hold me to that. But if you notice here, no show wagering. So they know, and tracks can do this where if they know they're going to have what's called a negative pool, where if you did penny breakage to the point where you're paying 201 to show, then, you know, maybe they would offer it. But, you know, but let's say mathematically, Sovereignty pays 210 to show when he wins, even though there's no show wagering. Let's pretend. If mathematically it figures out the 201, 9 cents for every $2 adds up. So that's why they do that. But keep an eye on that place pool, because if there's a ton of money and the bridge jumpers come out where they put in several $100,000, maybe even $1 million, you know, you get to see these pools where Sovereignty has 95% of the place pool, especially if it's a 6-figure, 7-figure number. Keep an eye on that, because guess what? If Sovereignty just, for whatever reason, just does not run today, and you have one of those other 4 horses and one of them finishes second, let's say it's Magnitude, and then let's say it's Bracket Buster, only because that's a 2 horse. Let's say it's those 2 horses. You got to pay that money out to those other horses, and that's why every once in a while you'll see Magnitude paid $460 to win and $20 to place. And that's why sometimes that price is okay, because, you know, it's just somebody, a group of people decided, oh, we're going to make Naira lose money on this race. And, oh, by the way, it comes to bite you in the ass. That's why it's called bridge jumping. But yeah, maybe I need to do a horse racing 102 one day. Because I did a horse racing 101 on the Bleacher Brothers site that is reference for all you guys there on the horse racing section of the page. So, so I'm going with Magnitude to win here. I usually wouldn't pick anything here, but I mean, I think Sovereignty may romp, but I wouldn't be surprised if Magnitude upsets here and goes gate to wire. I mean, this, even though it gives me a little bit of Arrogate vibes, but Arrogate wasn't really known Magnitude is a little bit more known. So don't be surprised, as I need to make myself visible here. There we go. Let's go to the main screen here. So don't be surprised if you see Magnitude win. But, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Sovereignty romps here, but my pick is Magnitude here for the record. I know last year, one of the races at Del Mar, I just said, no pick, but this is what to look for. But don't be, look at that place pool. And just remember, if you see hundreds upon hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions on that place pool, jump in, go to Magnitude, go to whoever you think. Because if Sovereignty doesn't win and doesn't finish second, if he doesn't finish second, then that pool is going to be a bonanza. You're going to see $20, $30, $40, $50 to place. And if you have $20, that's $500. So keep that in mind. So that's going to be it for this show. And perfect timing here, because I'd like to go 10 to 11, but I have, in some days we have the added fee, the added time there, because nobody's coming up after me, and sometimes we really get long-winded. But we're definitely going to look at Del Mar next week. They have the Pacific Classic there. We'll look at some of those races as well, and we're also going to look at the Nashville Derby from Kentucky Downs. I believe it's opening day on Saturday there. It's the only turf. It's the only course in the United States which is turf only, and it's a European style with hills and all this stuff. And you can see Tennessee out in the back, out in the on the final turn as well, because it's so close to the state line. But we'll look at those two races. We may have a surprise as well next Saturday. I will let you know with that on the Joe Quill Show, which runs Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday at 9 o'clock. Subscribe at twitch.tv/Joe Quills, and because I want to make affiliate on there, make a little coin here, make a few cents here and there. But that's going to be it for this show. I do appreciate each and every one of you for joining me here today. Good luck in all your wagers today, and let's get some of these horses home. And